Football stadiums, helipads, and plenty of mud filled the new releases for the simulation world last week. Hi there, folks. My name's NovaWrap, and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings-on from the week that was. So here we are on Sunday, the 10th of March, 2024, for another action-packed and very dirty episode of the NovaWrap as we cover off all the simulation releases from the week that was. And we're going to jump straight into it now with the releases for Microsoft Flight Simulator, starting with the team from SimWings with the release of their rendition of Barcelona International Airport in Spain. So if you're doing a bit of a double take saying, hey, Nova, didn't you talk about Barcelona last week? That is correct, I did, but that was from another developer. So this week we've got it from developer SimWings, as they've partnered once again with the team over at Aerosoft to release their rendition of this airport. Now, they give us a highly detailed rendition of the airport Josep Tarradellas El Prat, including all airport buildings modelled as it appears in 2024. So very, very up-to-date layout for those who wish to enjoy tube liner traffic. Includes all airport buildings modelled, custom terrain elevation data for the airport and surrounding areas, including being included for sloped taxi and runways, custom aerial imagery for the airport and surrounding areas, with detailed interiors and externals for main terminals 1 and 2, as well as full support for animated jetways and full support for Aerosoft's VDGS docking system. Variety of different custom ground effects have been included and custom dynamic clutter, including the number of apron vehicles, as well as full implementation of custom realistic nighttime dynamic lighting. Includes a number of features outside the airport as well, including renditions of the Barcelona harbour with custom 3D models for the cranes there. So give people who like to explore things at ground level a bit more to explore. Now, if you want to add this one to your collection, you can pick this up for $24 or your original equivalent, available now from Aerosoft. Continuing on with airport releases, this time from the team over at France VFR. So this week, the release of their latest airport with the release of Pau Pyrenees Airport in France, which is located in the new Aquitaine region. This is a regional airport, so being serviced by both the larger tube liners and also smaller aircraft and biz jets. Gives you custom high-resolution ground textures, airport layout as it appears in 2023, with custom terrain elevation data, including support for sloped runways and taxiways. Includes updated vegetation for the airport and surrounding areas, as well as full implementation of, as I said, custom aerial imagery. Overall, looking pretty damn good. I really like the layout of the buildings. All the buildings look pretty detailed, and the blending of the scenery into the surrounding areas looks pretty good. One thing that I'm really intrigued by, though, by the screenshots that came out from France VFR, was the pictures of some what appeared to be flying Tiger and Puma helicopters. Now, last time I checked, we don't have a Tiger or a Puma in Microsoft Flight Simulator yet, and looking through the screenshots, it looks like these, I don't know whether they're animated AI that's included as part of the scenery or whether it includes a traffic pack. I'm not sure, but these helicopters can be seen both, at least according to the screenshots, both in daylight hours and at night in the air. So as I said, I don't know whether that's some form of custom AI implementation, whether it's an animation that you'll just see them flying around at certain times of the day or the night. I don't know. I would be really intrigued to find out if anybody knows, because they don't talk about it in the publicity information. So it would be really interesting if that is the case. If anybody has this airport and can answer that question, please let me know in the comments down below, because I would love to know that. I'm not, as you know, I have a interesting relationship with helicopters. But if those two helicopters were in the sim, I'd be very, very interested. So anyway, if you want to pick this one up, you can pick this one up from your favorite flight sim retailer for $10 or your original equivalent, available now. Continuing on with airport releases now, this time from developer Sam Seen. So this week, the release of their latest airport with the release of Sanya Phoenix International Airport in south central China. Gives a highly detailed rendition of the airport, all airport buildings modeled, including custom high amount of detail done on Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, including in detailed interior of Terminal 1 and a basic interior for Terminal 2, custom moving animated jetways, as well as giving a large amount of detail was added to the surrounding area. So it looks like they may not have done too much in terms of the imagery, sort of increasing the imagery beyond the default imagery, which is included with Microsoft Flight Simulator. But what it does appear to do, though, is they add in a large number of POIs in there. So there's a lot of the buildings, iconic buildings of the area, a lot of skyscrapers, apartment blocks, and especially things that if you're on approach or you're flying the approaches of this airport, you would expect to see. And they have taken the time to actually model those. So over 80 iconic hotels, amongst other buildings, have all been included. If you wanted to add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $15 or your original equivalent, available now from Sim Market. Continuing on with airport releases now, this time from the team over at Fly Too High. So this week, the release of their Southwest Florida International Airport V2. So I don't normally cover updates for this one, but this one looks like they've done a pretty major overhaul of this one. They've basically redone, looking back comparing it to their original release. This is essentially brand new. They have completely changed and completely updated all the ground textures, both the photoreal imagery that it's overlaid for the ground, but also they've completely redone all of the runway, apron, and taxiway textures. So this is a big deal for them. They've actually done a pretty good deal with this one. They've updated the layout of the airport as it appears at the end of 2023. Including adding all new airport buildings to make it more accurate, improvements to the main terminal, and overall increase the fidelity and the quality of the textures included. Overall, this is looking pretty good. Like, I have to say that the ground poly that they're using and the PBR that they've applied to it, as I said, the ground textures, it has come a long way since it was first released a couple of years ago. So pretty big deal. As I said, I don't normally cover updates, but this one I did want to cover. Speaking of it, as it is an update, if you are an existing owner of the original V1, this is actually a free update for you. But if you're a new owner, they're running a launch special on this one of about a 10% saving. So normally coming in for $20, you're coming in for $18 or your original equivalent, available now from Sim Market. Now moving from larger airports into something a little bit smaller now to keep the rotor heads happy. So the team over at HR Simyard have released their latest small heliport collection with the release of Martin 6 Hinterglemm. So this continues a series of helipads, small helipad sceneries that they've been releasing for a little while now by producing small search and rescue bases dotted around the Swiss and Austrian Alps. So this one is located in Salzburg in Austria and operates pretty much year-round as a home base for the Martin 6 rescue helicopter. It gives a highly detailed rendition of all airport buildings, as well as the ski resorts and a couple of other neighbouring buildings. The ground poly looking pretty, as I said, it's designed to blend into the photoreal that's included with Microsoft Flight Simulator with the European World updates, and it blends in pretty damn well. It really does. They've applied full PBR effects to everything, so it looks really good even under some pretty extreme weather conditions, as well as operating custom night lighting, animated windsocks, and full supports of all the seasons. Includes a start and landable helipad trailer as well, which I believe was a feature in their previous releases. So good to see that there is something more for our rotary winged friends. If you want to pick this one up, you can pick this one up for $12 or your original equivalent, available now from Sim Market. Something else keeping the frantic palm tree aficionados occupied this week will be the release of the Miltech Simulations CH-47D for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So the Waka, the Shite Hook, however you know it, this helicopter is probably the second most iconic helicopter in existence behind the Huey. Personally, for one, I prefer this over the Huey. I think it is an incredible aircraft. I think it is an amazing piece of technology, and I love the tandem rotors. I think it's cool. The team over at Miltech, of course, have got a lot of experience delivering us rotary winged crafts before giving us the V22 Osprey for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they've built on that and developed this pretty damn good at least from the screenshots I'm seeing, the pretty damn good rendition of the CH-47. Now, not to say that it wasn't mired with a controversy. The initial previews that were sent out to various influencers highlighted a number of apparently things in it that the community took great offense to. But to Miltech's credit, they learnt their lesson. They took on board the feedback from the community and they implemented a lot of those changes that the community sort of said, hey, you need to do this if you want to actually get us to buy it. But overall, looking at it, it looks pretty cool. This comes with a highly detailed model of the CH-47D with a highly accurate 3D model both internally and externally, including a fully modeled cargo bay with a custom set of realistic animations including the accurately modeled tandem rotors with blade droop and blade slap, includes operating doors and cargo ramps. You get 13 different liveries for a number of different operators of the helicopter, as well as custom effects including downwash effects over different terrain types and a custom tailored flight model and a flight and engine model throughout various regimes, tested and validated by a number of real-world CH-47 pilots. They've noted, though, however, they are using that. Despite that, it does have some limitations because they are using the native Microsoft Flight Simulator helicopter flight model at the moment with some customizations on top of it. However, they have said that with the planned integration or the announced planned integration from Microsoft and Asobo for proper tandem rotor flight modeling in the future, whether that future is in Microsoft Flight Simulator or in the next iteration in 2024, we don't know yet, but they are planning that once that is available to them and they can see the code for it, they will migrate the flight model over into that regime. You get a full set of custom sound packs, including accurate depictions of the engine, the rotor sound set, as well as APU sounds, transmission whine, and a number of other features. Includes the options of cargo loadings. You have the option of doing sling loading, as well as a number of different internal cargo layouts, as full customized navigation and electronic instrumentation systems with fully functional TACAN, IADF, and VOR navigation systems, with an optional area-style GPS with planned integration for PMS GTN 750 and TDS GTN XI. You get a support. The couple of other interesting things that come with this helicopter as well is that not only do you get the helicopter, they're doing a bit of value adding to this as well by giving you a mission system. I'm not 100% sure how the mission system works. I would be very intrigued to see how it works though. But includes firefighting missions, cargo hoist missions, rescue and humanitarian missions, and military exercise missions. They're randomized, gives you a set of random objectives, and gives you something to do with your helicopter. So I really like this kind of thing. For me, it reminds me a bit of Parallel 42's the Sky Park, but it's integrated. It's designed purely for one aircraft. They do note, however, that some of the missions that get generated may require other Miltech Simulations products. So there's the cross-sell, including the Super Carrier Pro and Military Simulations UK Carrier Strike Group packages, each sold separately. I mean, you can't blame them for trying and wanting to promote their extra products. You can't blame them for that. But along with the mission system, you also get a number of scenery items included here as well. So you get 6 bases to be able to operate your CH-47 out of, including 3 real-world locations. You get 5 major scenery. You get 3 real-world locations that operate the CH-47, including RAF Odium, Bryant Airfield in Alaska, and Chabeli airfield in Djibouti, which is a hub for US CH-47 operations in Africa. You also get Camp Resilience in Jordan and Al Sahara Base in Kuwait, which are both fictional military outposts, but based on forward operating posts that were operated by forward operating bases that were operated by the US military during various different Gulf conflicts. Along with that, you also get they also include multiple small training facilities, exercise scenes, and rescue scenes that factor in with the mission systems. So there is a lot more than just the helicopter in this add-on. So I'm really, really impressed by that one. I really, really am. So if you want to add this one, if you want to add the Walker to your collection and hear that super iconic Walker sound in your sim, you can pick this one up for $36 US or your original equivalent, available now from Miltech Simulations. And giving not just our frantic palm tree friends, but everyone who enjoys cityscapes as we round out the Microsoft Flight Simulator releases this week, the team over at Giovetsky Designs has released their latest of their Landmarks pack with the release of Landmarks Warsaw. So it gives a bunch of bridges, bunch of detailed skyscrapers, usual things that we've come to expect from the team over Giovetsky Designs in a pretty good quality. And I've got to admit that I've had mixed experience with Giovetsky Designs, particularly with their products for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I found that the products of theirs that I've had have been ones that were done in the legacy sims, in Prepared and FSX, and I found that they really, really suffered from the age of those legacy sims, and bringing them into Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yes, you can, but they just don't look as good. This add-on looks like it's a very clear change from that. This looks like it's been. I can't remember if this one was originally. I want to say that this was available for the legacy sims in the past, but the modeling of this one really looks like it's been custom done just for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The texture quality looks a lot better. The modeling quality looks a lot better. There are plenty of football stadiums and bridges and skyscrapers and helipads for you to go and visit, and plenty of things to bring Warsaw to life. And again, much like many of the other landmark packs from Giovetsky Designs, you also get a number of airports included with this, as well as sort of like a light upgrade to bring it something better than what you get by default. You get 15 custom-made airfields around the city, including a Babis airport. So it's pretty cool for me. I found that with Giovetsky Design landmark packs, you're buying a bunch of airports and getting some free buildings. And I think this one is very much the same thing again. But I have to say that I think overall that this, compared to the last landmarks pack that I took a long detailed look at, which was Moscow, this one is just for the visuals. As I said, I haven't flown it yet, so this may be wrong. When I get into the sim and actually have a look at it in the sim. But first pass, looking at the promo pictures, this already looks like light years ahead of the Moscow landmarks pack, because the airports were great. The landmarks were atrocious. So I am looking forward to exploring Warsaw with this one and checking it out. But if you want to add this one to your collection, you pick this one up for $20 or your original equivalent, available now from your favorite flight sim retailer. Moving out of the world of Microsoft Flight Simulator now and moving into the world of X-Plane, the team over at Axonos has released their latest airport with the release of Varna Airport, which is a historical large maritime city in Bulgaria. And not going to lie, when I first looked at the screenshots for this, I thought I was looking at Microsoft Flight Simulator. Obviously, when I looked close to the screenshots, I could tell it was X-Plane. But at the same time, I didn't realize how far X-Plane 12 had come in its graphics quality, and I am fairly impressed. I am. Anyway, on to the actual product here. So this was a highly detailed rendition of the airport with custom pavement textures, custom ground poly, custom aerial imagery for the airport and surrounding areas, airport layout as it appears in 2023, all airport buildings modelled with full support for animated marshals with a variety of other custom clutter included for the airport and surrounding areas. Now, if you want to add this one to your collection and for X-Plane 12, you can pick this one up for $14 or your original equivalent, available now from your favorite flight sim retailer. Moving out of the world of flight simulation now and moving into the world of the permanent way. We saw the latest DLC released for Dovetail Games Train Simulator with the release of Ringbahn Berlin Circle. So this is an interesting one here. This one is really quite a modern take, this one here. So the original Berlin Circle route was completed in 1877, but it's continued on and grown and been improved throughout the time here, and this is a rendition of the route as appears in 2022, so quite up to date as it comes to train simulator content here. And it comes complete with the S-Bahn loop lines, a branch line to the north to Pankow, and a drivable main line from Treptow Park to Gunter Bahnhof in Treptow. All train stations along the lines are modelled, as well as the city surrounding the lines has also been done in pretty good detail, with authentic signals, safety equipment and track markings all included to improve your realism. Along with the route itself, you get the Deutsche Bahnhof Class 483-484 EMU, which is designed expressly for use on the Berlin S-Bahn, and it's also known as the Stadler GTW. Now, included with this one, you get a heap of scenarios. So normally you sort of get 4 or 5 scenarios with this one, but with this one you're getting, I think it's 20 scenarios you're getting with this pack, which is insane. Like, it's definitely not common to see that many scenarios included with a single route add-on. So very impressed by the team for that one. So you get an authentic recreation of the Ringbahn Berlin with the S-Bahn loop, as I said before, main line between Treptow Park and Gunter Bahnhof, and you get the Deutsche Bahnhof Class 483-484 EMU with highly detailed, realistic cab controls and sound sets. If you want to add this one to your collection, you can pick this one up for $40 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. Moving from the permanent way and moving far off the beaten track now. So the release of from Saber Interactive of the release of Expeditions, a MudRunner game. So it's a spin-off from the MudRunner series, the long-standing MudRunner series from Saber Interactive. As they go and do something, they're trying something a little bit different here, and this is doing more. I don't know if I want to say it's role play, but it's more sort of scenario based, where you have something to do. You have a group of scientists you've got to go and take to a certain place, and you've got to do certain tasks along the way. So it's not as open world as the MudRunner and SnowRunner are. It's more task driven and sort of mission orientated rather than sort of open world, which has, not gonna lie, reading the reviews on Steam has caused quite the division in the driving community on Steam, it would seem. But visually this thing looks pretty damn stunning. It looks pretty damn cool. You've got a number of vehicles, you've got the great detail of the terrain that we're used to seeing in MudRunner, SnowRunner games. Visuals look stunning, and with a number of vehicles and full customization support. Probably the only thing I notice is that you don't get a lot of vehicles in this one. So that's, and again, I'm not as familiar with MudRunner or SnowRunner as I probably should be, but it seems that the number of vehicles is a bit light. But the flip side of that is that this is mission orientated rather than open world, so I kind of get that as well at the same time. So yeah, up to you what you think. As I said, like, the community seems to be very divided on this title about whether it's a good title or not, but yeah, I'll let you make your own decision for that one. Now, like normal with SnowRunner and MudRunner titles, it's coming out in a couple of different purchase options. You've got the base option. You also have a annual pass. They've got a year one pass available as day one DLC, as well as a couple of vehicles and a customization pack. But if you want just the base game, you're looking at $40 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. And then finally, rounding out the NovaWrap and the new releases for this week, we are obviously back to sporting season again with the release of We Are Football 2024. I had forgotten the fact that these sport management games get released every year, but anyway, so here we are once again with another year's worth of football management. Yeah, it is what it is. You've got a couple of different game modes. It doesn't seem like they've really changed much from the previous ones. But the thing that I have mixed feelings about with this one, but I will acknowledge them, at least they owned it, is that the the use of AI imagery in the game. I have mixed feelings about it. So it's, as I said, like it's your standard football manager setup. Not really going to go into that much here. If you know about it, if you're into these kind of games, you probably already know about it. But the interesting thing for me was the disclosure they published with the title, which is they used about 12,000 AI generated photos for generic male and female players featured in the game. I got mixed feelings about that. I mean, AI generated content is a thing now, whether we like it or as an artist, whether I like it or not, it is a thing. So that's interesting that this is the in a it's not. I'm not. It's obviously. I can't say it's the first time it's ever been used in a game. But what I can say is the first time in the game that I have been in, that's been in a region of gaming that I take an interest in. So yeah, it did sort of throw me a little bit and make me sit up and take notice. I'm not into this type of game, so that wouldn't sway me either way, but it would definitely be something that as I said, it made me sit up and take notice. Whether that's something that you care about, I don't know. That's up to you. But yeah, I'll leave that one for you. Anyway, if you wanted to add this one to your collection, you pick this one up for $25 or your original equivalent, available now on Steam. And with that, folks, that does now round out the NovaWrap for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter and on Twitch. Just search NovaWrap24. All right, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.